Lent Day 28. A lesson from the Annunciation. Today we celebrate the solemnity of the Annunciation, that very moment when the Archangel Gabriel, in the name of the Blessed Trinity, appeared to Mary and announced to her the will of God that she should bring forth the Savior of the world. The most important thing about the Annunciation is the consent of Mary. She said yes to God's will and thus became a willing instrument in the hands of God to bring about salvation. Hence, the most important lesson for every Christian as we celebrate this feast is to do the will of God. Having heard the message of the angel, Mary said, "Let it be done to me according to your word." In other words, just as Jesus said later in the Garden of Gethsemane, Mary said, "Not my will, but yours be done." Doing the will of God is never easy, especially when it entails abandoning our own will and plans for God's. But doing God's will enables us to cooperate with the plans of God, and such cooperation yields a lot. It was Mary's yes and cooperation with God that made it possible for Jesus to take on flesh and come into our world. This became the central point of human history. Everything changed with her yes. Just as Mary became a willing instrument of God and brought about the greatest change, we too, if we are open and willing enough to cooperate with God's will, can effect a great change in the world. On the contrary, not so much can be achieved through us if we are always fighting against God's will and insisting that ours be done at all times. We should spend some time during this Lent to reflect on how much of God's will we have battled with and resolve, asking the help of God to do better. Let us learn to do God's will. Let the example of the Blessed Mother inspire us, and the reward of our obedience motivate and encourage us to do the same.